Afternoon, Nathan. We'll start with the positive news for the football club. New face through the door in this January transfer window in the form of someone you know well, James Bree. How pleasing was it to get him through and have that addition to your squad?
Yeah, very much so. We felt it's something we really needed in terms of stuff. He's done fantastically well for me at my previous club over a number of years. Really athletic, quick. Technically wonderful. He's a bit like Prowsey in that way in terms of dead balls, in terms of delivery. And he'll give us an added because he can play as an attacking fullback, a wing back, or right side centre half. So really gives us another option to go to. Plus, look, he knows exactly how I like to play, how front footed I like to be, and he's implemented that very well. So it's a real logical signing.
When you talk about the qualities there, he's obviously going to bring a lot on the pitch as well, but you've mentioned his aggression, attitude, work rate. Are those characteristics going to be perhaps more important in the relegation battle you're currently in?
I think they're important anyway. Look, we want to play a certain way, whether it's whether we're mid-table, whether we're in the position we're in now, or whether we're years down the line and a real aggressive front-footed Premier League side. So we want to play the same way. It's about recruiting now. We felt we've needed to recruit certain things within the squad. We want to add athleticism, want to add a little bit of size, want to add aggression to it all over, coupled with the good players we got here, and that's a work in progress. It's not going to happen in one window. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a constant work in progress, and with Bree's done. We brought him from Aston Villa when I was at Luton, and he had Premier League attributes, just wasn't putting them together. And what we've seen over a 2.5 year period is he's brought them all together. He was fabulous for me in the first 9 games when we stayed up. Then he's had 2 seasons where he's been excellent. Last year he was the best right back in the division for me in terms of productivity, in terms of everything he had, and then this year he's evolved into being able to do both. So look, he'll be a good signing. Don't put too much pressure on him and things, but he's a good signing. He's a good player, a very, very good player, and a fantastic athlete, which is something we really want here.
The third player to come into Southampton over this window, new face. The fans will immediately say, who's next? We know the club have been desperate to bring in a striker. That was their plan in the summer. Is that potentially the last piece of the jigsaw? If you could have one more player in this window, it would be a striker?
Look, we want to add potency in attacking areas, so whether that's a striker, whether that's a wide one who can play, whatever that is. Look, I don't put too much pressure on things, but we're clear on what we want, clear in the attributes that we need in everything. So we're working tirelessly, in terms to bring that in, and hopefully, God willing, we will do that by the end of the window, so to give us, added firepower.
Are you confident that you can get that one final player done?
Yeah, we are confident that we can do it because we're working constantly on it, and as I said, there's a lot of clubs looking at the same things, and eventually there's probably more options than clubs looking for those things. So eventually we'll get the one we want, and things. At times it's about evaluation, times about biding your time, about doing the right thing, and I said about getting the right one. That's the most important thing, not just getting anyone, but getting the right one. And we have certain targets that 1 or 2 that we definitely want, and we're just having to really work hard to get those.
You say 1 or 2. Does that mean there could be more potentially than one player coming in between now and deadline day?
Look, if it allows, then it could be. But what we want to do is get the one target that we really want, and then it'll allow us to maybe tweak something else. But at the minute, we've got good numbers, we've got good options. I think we've had a really good window in terms of everything. We've added firepower on the left. We've added Charlie, who'll be a fantastic player for us, I'm sure. We've secured things up by calling Yanni B back, and then I've added someone who I know really well, that's versatile, athletic, aggressive. So I think it's been a good window so far. What we want is to add potency, goals, threat. So if we can do that, then I think it's been an outstanding window.
Finally, on the transfer front, no offers for any of your players. There's been talk north of the border that Joe Aribo is subject to more interest from clubs back in Scotland. Have you had any offers for anyone? Would you let anyone go, or do you want to keep the group together?
We want to keep the majority of the group together, and Joe's someone I want to keep here. He's been unfortunate, but I really like Joe, and I've tried to sign Joe in previous clubs I've been at. So it's just about us finding the balance now and getting the right mix of players and things. And Joe's definitely someone I want to be here, and I speak to Joe on a regular basis. He's been a little unlucky because he was excellent at Palace and then hasn't played since, but that will change.
Shift the dynamic now. Premier League, League Cup semi-final, now the FA Cup this weekend. We know that you've had positive results in cup competition. How different and difficult is it to perhaps change and kind of get that mentality right for these different games? The Premier League comes with huge pressure for the points and staying in the division. The Cup gives you a little bit of a respite, but the pressure of having to play in the League Cup because there's Wembley at stake. What does the dynamic for this game do for your squad and yourself?
To be fair, for us as we prepare, the pressure's the same because we're trying to build something. We're trying to get to a point where we are a certain team that can win games at whatever level. At the minute, we're finding that balance. We are evolving into that team, and we're not too far off, in terms of being a different side to what we were come 26th of December or whatever when we came back. So we are evolving now. Yeah, it's a different kind of pressure, different test, and so on. But the principle is exactly the same. We want to have an aggressive team, a team that plays on the front foot, and a team that wins a game. Now, the ironic thing is the cup games have been against Premier League sides and stuff as well in recent weeks. In terms of all our tests have been Premier League tests. This is slightly different, but the test I know very, very well with one, the manager, two, the team. So it's just another opportunity for us to take a step forward, and it'll be a stern test. And look, the pressure's on us because we're Premier League, we're home, and the expectation's there. But so it's different pressure, but it's still pressure. So it's just about us taking another step forward.
What are you expecting from them this weekend? Because of course Mick McCarthy, very experienced manager, very different style to management, and perhaps the way he would set up a team compared to Michael Appleton. What will their threats be like, and how difficult a match will it be?
Well, it'll be a very difficult game. They'll be, it's their first game because they obviously had a game called off last week. So they're a bit unknown because we don't know what they're gonna go with. We've had no sort of key to that, but it'll be about us, about how if we turn up and we are the team that we want to be, or we believe we can be, then we stand a good chance of winning the game. What we will come up against is a front-footed team that will work hard, that be aggressive, because Mick demands that, and his teams have been like that, and he's been very successful in doing that. So I know that tomorrow, if we take the game lightly in any kind of way, we'll get punched on the nose.
And just finally, the team news and potentially your setup. You made a few changes for the Newcastle game from the previous match. Will you be making more changes? Will you give some of the younger players an opportunity, or will you be going with your strongest side? And what are the injury doubts?
Look, what we have to do is use the squad because, as I said, it's relentless. The schedule at the minute has been a bit relentless, so we can't just go with the same 11. And we have to pick a team that is capable of winning the game. Two, realise we've got a cup semi-final against a side that's not had to play this week, that have had a rest and everything. So those things in mind, and then thinking that as soon as we fly back from Newcastle, we've got to prepare for a tough game away at Brentford. So the schedule's really, really hectic, and what we have to do is in all competitions respect all three. There is an order of priority, but we have to make sure that we are competitive in all games, treat them with respect, and try and win all three.
Team news, any doubts, any players that are coming back?
No, there'll be a few coming back, and there'll be a few that we'll be able to, they'll be able to include that we couldn't on Tuesday night. So that's a positive, and that is a good thing taking us forward for the second half of the season, which is going to be vital.
Thank you.
Some people, I guess, would say the old cliche, the cup's a distraction when you're fighting in the league. But actually, for you, trying to get to give your players games and keep everyone top notch and get to know your players and get things better, is it helpful having all these cup matches in some way?
Look, it's a bit of both really, because it's helpful so that everyone can get rhythm, that I can find out about all my players in these things, but also then you have to keep preparing for games and so on. Look, we haven't got the luxury of pretty much like Everton didn't. We had Man City on a Wednesday, then we had to play Everton, and I thought we got everything spot on in terms of being able to prepare right for that. This week's exactly the same. We've got Saturday, then we've got Tuesday, which is a massive game with everything to play for. So one, we have to make sure we try and win Saturday, and then two, we have to be ready to prepare for the sternest of tests away at Newcastle. Then I think so. It is. Look, they're nice distractions, and it's why you're in football. You want to play games, you want to play competition, but we also realise that to go 3 games on the spin, we're going to need a squad that's at it.
But I guess a bit like the Palace game, it's a chance to win a game and get everyone
Absolutely
just up a bit again, ready for the big matches.
But look, it's a big match, and what we're saying, we're not treating it as an FA Cup. It's this and the other. It's a chance for us to take another step forward because we are still evolving. We are getting, we are improving every aspect in terms of in and out of possession. Out of possession, we're now, I think, a good side and tough to beat, and we've kind of stopped the rot of conceding chance after chance after chance. So I think we're in a good place defensively. Now it's about evolving into a more potent football side, and we need to do that. So these games are doing that in the Cup, because at the end of the day, the bread and butter is the league, and that's where we have to be really successful. It's really difficult saying that because we're effectively one game from Wembley, albeit a tough tie, but that's the reality, and that's why we do it.
I don't usually ask about transfers because they bore me as much as they bore you being asked about it, but on the sort of how it is for you, when I look back to the summer, your predecessor was sort of promised a striker and said he'd get one, and then it never came. Not his fault. We're into the last few days, fans are starting to panic a bit about a forward coming in. You might have been promised one when you took the job, that yes, you'll get reinforcements. How worried are you with a few days to go, or how much will it affect you and the team if you don't get the forwards you want?
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it. What we do, we have process here, and every club I've been at, there's been a process where we've never panicked, we've never worried, and we've always got recruitment right. That's the big thing. We have to get recruitment right. So if the right one comes available, then literally we will, the club will do everything they can to sign that. If that doesn't materialise, and I don't expect it not to materialise, but if it doesn't materialise, then we have got good players here that we work with. Now, I believe that, since we've come in, there's probably 5 or 6 that have really improved, really stepped up, really good thing. And that we have to make sure that that's 10, 12, 13 players that all improve and all get to a level. And we will improve what we have here. So I'm not panicking, I'm not fearful in any way, because whatever happens, we've got good players here that we can work with and improve and get to a level. Now, if we do add real potency, real thing, then brilliant, we're in a better place. But we're not going to panic over it, and we're not going to say, well, I was promised this and I didn't get it, so that's not right. What we do is we identify targets, we know what we need, and it's not just a striker we need, to evolve into the side we want, we need 1 or 2 other bits as well, but the priority now is probably adding more potency in goals, and if we get that, then brilliant. If we don't, then we continue to work.
Okay, we'll move on to the section for 10:30 this evening.
Hi Nathan.
Hi.
Mark mentioned injury news. What players are back? Is Armel Stewart Armstrong back?
Rather than give my team away and stuff, there's a few there. You'll see tomorrow that when you see the squad, that there are players in contention tomorrow, and that are far closer to making a start for the first team than they were in the Newcastle game or last week against Villa. So yeah, we're in a better place. 1 or 2 are still a little bit off, but there'll be some names in the squad tomorrow that weren't in the squad against Villa, and that's good.
One possible player that could come back, Alex McCarthy. Could he come back for not only tomorrow but the games after that as well?
Well, look, we want that competition in all areas. We haven't been able to have that because we've only got two goalkeepers fit, but Alex is a lot closer. It's about picking the right game and put him in, and not just because of the stature of the game, but when he's had enough training that he can do himself justice as well, because we can't just say, well, okay, it's the FA Cup or it's against a side that's a league below us, we can play. That's not the case. It's putting him into the environment when he's ready.
Thoughts on Cameron Bazoum? It's obviously his first season in the Premier League and pretty tough circumstances as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what we need. Probably an experienced runner. He has Willy Caballero around him, but he needs that competition, but 2, at times you might need a rest, because with the greatest respect, he's come from Man City, brilliant, he's done well at international level, but he's last year he played at Portsmouth, and there's a categorical difference between League One and the Premier League. So Gav's always going to do well and then have a dip and do things, because he's not very, very difficult. I can't remember anyone coming from the League One, with the greatest respect. I know he's come from Man City, but a standard there, and then played 38 Premier League games and been absolutely outstanding, because it's a big jump. But Gav is a fantastic keeper, he's a fantastic prospect. He has certain things which we know we need to work on, but he's done really well. But at times, we might need that experience around him, and having Alex fit and Willie around it, then will only help him.
Just one on transfers for me. There's been reports about a number 6 potentially coming in. Is that an area you still want to strengthen?
Look, there's a few areas we need to strengthen. So rather than say, because it's the players that are playing those positions are doing well at this point in time, there's a certain element, certain positions we need to strengthen in, or certain areas where we need to go. Look, we need a bit more of this, a bit more of that. that will evolve. That's an evolution process. That's a thing that'll happen not over one window. That'll happen 3, 4, 5 windows in terms of stuff. But right now, there's a priority that we need, and we're working really hard on that. If we were able to get that, then it opens up. Well, there might be an opportunity to do this, might be an opportunity to do that. But we don't do that before we do the priority, and that's the thing. Certain things. I think it's been a good window so far in terms of real logical window. We've added real competition in the wide areas. As I said about James, I'm really confident that James is going to do very well here because of what he has. Charlie's a fantastic player. We're really happy with him, and then Yanni B comes back and gives us a bit of experience, settles us down a little bit because there's a lot of young players in there. You know, Lianco's first season. It's Salisu still young, even though he's played games. Bella Kotchup's young, first season. Duje's a bit more experienced and so on. So you need that, and Yanni gives us that. So we're happy with the window. Yeah, we want to add some potency. And if we do that, we feel we're in a really good place to have a positive second half.
Just finally, could tomorrow represent a chance for all the younger players to give it a go, especially someone like Jimmy J Morgan, there's been reports about him turning down a new contract at the club?
Yeah, look, young players and so on will always get opportunities at this football club. They have to earn that opportunity, and they have to keep doing well and so on, because there's a pathway here for the younger ones to do well. We want to make sure we keep hold of ours, and none of them will be leaving the building in terms of anything, because we believe that development isn't a 6-month process or a 2-month process, or well, throw them in here because we want to do this or do that. Development is when you're at 35, you look back and go, I made real good decisions there, and they made good decisions for me. So Jimmy J is 16 years of age, fantastic player, got a bright future if he picks the right choices, if the people that are working with him handle him well, and if we work him, train him, develop him into a level. So look, that's what'll happen. If it's right tomorrow that we put a youngster in or play, then we will do it. What we won't do is do anything gratuitously into it. They have to earn it, they have to be ready, and then when they do and get their opportunities, we'd like them to take it. So we'll see.
Hi Nathan.
Hi.
You mentioned adding potency to your attack. Is Rennes winger Kamaldeen Suleiman a player that adds potency?
He'll add potency to anyone in terms of the way he is, but whether he's on our list or whether we're in for him or anything is another thing. But as I said to you, we would like to add either real central potency in terms of a striker, or we'll add something different that can play across the front line, that'll supply different chances and stuff. So that's what we're out to look to do. No names, no nothing, because as I said, a lot of people are looking for the same things, but we'll see. So we've still got 4 or 5 days of the window left. Usually the last day is bonkers anyway, so it's plenty of time. It's not like we're running out of time. No, we're not. We know what we want to do, and it's about making those decisions. And those people that have players that we would like also know that there's 4 or 5 days left in the window. So all decisions have to be made in the last couple of things. People hold on, try to get the best price, try to get this. So it's always difficult. So there's no panic here in terms of stuff. We know what we need, and if we get it, brilliant. If we don't, we work with what we have.
Is pace one element of potency that you feel you need there?
You can never have too much pace, never have too much power, never have too much aggression, never have too much quality. So we will constantly, and as long as I'm at the football club, be striving to add more pace, power, aggression, quality to the thing. We'll never rest and think, okay, we're okay now. From window to window, we work with what we have. But in every window, we have to come out of... This squad will get better every single window, and that's all you can do. With recruitment that other clubs I've been at, I've made sure that I've left the club in a better position than it was when I took over, and that means squad, that means environment, that means culture, and pretty much usually results and places in the table. Sometimes that takes a little bit longer than it does, but we'll always look to add real quality to our squad, so that anyone, and I know I'm a custodian of this seat, not owner of this seat. So the next one after me will look and go, I can see I've got a good squad to work with. I've got balance, I've got pace, I've got aggression, I've got people that can defend, I've got a structure that I can work from, wherever that is. I don't think I've ever left a club in turmoil in terms of what they have to look after. I've always recruited well, always recruited real potency for whatever system, shape or whatever, and that's what we intend to do here.
And finally, just on tomorrow's match, I mean, for the fans themselves, it's home, you're against a side struggling in the Championship, the majority will expect you to win. You've managed in the Championship, is the golfing quality as big as the fans kind of make out, or is actually, a club like Blackpool in the Championship, they've still got some quality players?
Look, it's been a tough tie. I've been at Championship 11 and we've gone after Premier League sides and really enjoyed going after Premier League sides, and played against Newcastle when we were League Two, Leeds and Villa, and then literally the gulf. It's not a gulf, but there's an improvement. If we play to the best of our ability, and so do Blackpool, then I expect us to win, because there is a difference in things. But that's the beauty of the FA Cup. They'll be motivated, new manager, in terms of everything. So we have to make sure that we are at our best, because we'll need to be at our best to win. But it's a great tie, great competition in terms of everything. And yeah, they've got quality, and so have we. We've got a load of quality. The team we pick tomorrow will be packed full of quality and athleticism, and players that want to do well for the football club, because that's what we have. So is it a gulf? I don't know. It's a difference. It's a big difference, but I'm not sure it's quite a gulf. Because you see upsets, you see Championship sides doing well. Blackpool beat Forest last game, 4-1. I think Forest beat them 4-1. I think this time last year when the roles not roles reversed, but when they were going for. So it's a cup competition. That's the beauty of it. You see League Two beating Premier League. See League Two beating Stevenage beat Villa. It can happen, and that's the beauty of it. What we have to make sure is we're the best version of ourselves. Because I think if we're the best version of ourselves, then we'll be okay.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you. Well, leaving Nathan. You just said a minute ago that the last day of the transfer is always bonkers anyway. It's a very unique situation for you that you've got a cup semi-final in Newcastle on the very same day. Is that particularly unique?
Well, it will be, but it won't. My focus will be solely on things. Look, all my work's done pretty much in terms of that now. In terms of things that I have to do to get them in, then it's to other people, and if that fits in with what we can do here, then we'll do it. If not, as I said, we'll move on. But my focus Tuesday will solely be on Newcastle, and might have the odd phone call and so on. But we hope that the majority of our business is done by then. But it is a crazy window. January is always difficult because people hold on to players, don't want to lose them halfway through. Difficult to replace, so then they are difficult to let go, and it's a totally different window from the summer, and it is crazy. Then brilliant for Sky and things like that. That everyone tends to go mental. Decisions get made and the amount of deals that get done at 11:05, 11:07. Is it good? Seems crazy to me considering you've had a month to do it, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, you have done something you were saying last week, and you've spoken about James Bree in length. But you said to us last week that you didn't want to knee-jerk on a player that you didn't know, or buy somebody for the sake of it. You've been able to do both here. You've bought somebody you've worked with for a long time, and you've got a new player in the squad. That must be really pleasing for you.
Yeah, very much so, because it's good to have continuity and people that know how you work. But look, he's earned that. He's a Premier League athlete. He's a Premier League technician. Just needs an opportunity to test himself, and that's where it is. And we've got real good players here, but he will add to us because he's different. He's different. He's similar quality to Prowsey in terms of that, and that's a great compliment, because Prowsey's probably one of the world best at certain things he does. But he's a real good athlete. He's one of the top ones we have here, one of the quickest we have here, one of the most durable. He's 6 foot, 6'1". We haven't got that as fullbacks here. Our fullbacks, with greatest respect, are 5'7", 5'8". So he adds something different there, and he can play in a different position as well, and he's proved that. So it gives us a different dimension to play. What he has to do is earn his place. What he has to do then is step up to the level, because there is a difference in level. But I'm confident that he'll do it. I haven't gone back and signed 10 from Luton. I've signed one who I believe right now can add to us.
Jake asked you about the goalkeepers a moment ago, and you mentioned about how Willie Caballero working with Gavin Mazzini really important. That's something that the former manager said a lot, that Willie was a really good leader in the group, and particularly for the goalkeepers. Have you seen that with him this season continue, and is he in potential to play again in the cup? Absolutely.
Willie's not a cheerleader here. Willie's someone that we trust. He trains like a lunatic every day, and a good lunatic, every day, and what a human being. So at whatever point we put Willie Caballero in, we're 100% confident that what we're going to get.
And if I may ask about Reno Lavia, because you were giving him a good rest on Tuesday, came on for sort of 9 or 10 minutes towards the end, but how is he feeling this week after having his minutes managed again?
Well, he should be feeling good. I mean, what we want to do is, with the games coming up and where we see him, and we knew that it'd be a real tough physical game the other day. So I thought Diallo was absolutely outstanding in terms, especially out of possession. So we need to get the balance right. But with Romeo, we can't. He played 6 Premier League games and then was out for so long because he had a bad injury. We had to manage that. Now we're God willing, since December, where he's had a month without picking up anything, you know. So he's been able to get games out in minutes, but it just takes managing. Eventually, he'll get to a point where he can go bang, bang, bang. You know, he'll be a Prowsey. He'll be things like that. Prowsey's durable. Prowsey's because he's been 10 years as a Premier League player, so it helps, and that's what Romeo has to get to, and we have to realise he's still a teenager.
And Ibra Diallo himself is still a young player, and he's sort of 4 or 5 years younger. And you mentioned now out possession really impressive on Tuesday. Is it what are you looking for to work with him to make him the Finnish Premier League midfielder that you want?
Well, look, out of possession, I think he's fantastic. In possession, you know, if we put him and Romeo together, we've got probably one of the world's best players in that position. So it's about improving certain people. We're never going to get the absolute finished article. There's not many of those around, but they usually cost about 150 million quid. So what we have to do is work with those now. They're brilliant, they want to win, they want to get better. So it's about looking at them, what you're really good at, encouraging that, what can you get better at, working on that, and that's what development is. Cheers.
So as this will be McCarthy's first game in charge of Blackpool, how do you think this could affect the way they might play, and how have you prepared yourself for this?
Look, they'll have a real upturn. They'll work hard, make demands that from anyone, whether he's be 6 months. It'll be the same team 6 months down the line. They'll be aggressive. They'll be front-footed, and they'll be difficult to play against. That's Mick, and he's fantastically. He's done fantastic in his career. Someone I really like, someone I get on with, you know, really, really well. Got a lot of respect for, and someone that, you know, we'd never take lightly. So it's gonna be a tough game. And look, the fact it's the first game, a little bit of unknown within the game as well, because, you know, we haven't seen them play under Mick. So it's only what we know from him do we do our preparation. But as I said, it's all about us.